There was a great disturbance in the Force. I felt it. Yes, the company that created me has taken me to the land of mice. LucasArts has been bought by the Disney Corporation. We're all screwed now. Having Mickey Mouse dressed as Jedi Knights and Minnie's as Princess Leia's and Goofy's as Chewbacca. How stupid is that? You are becoming wiser by the day, using the Force to foresee the future. No, I didn't feel it. All I did was, look on the internet. You are becoming wiser by the day, using the Force to foresee the future. Yeah, the internet's a great tool. I didn't feel it though. I looked at, any news website, any entertainment news website, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, which is Twitter for people that don't read, and, of course, LucasArts, Lucasfilm sites, Marvel, Disney, all of those sites have something about it. I mean, my goodness, you think a $4 billion exchange would be noticed, right? I must keep your training going to become a more powerful Jedi. Look, I don't have any more time for this. I have to get a review done, okay? So we'll discuss this more later, and hopefully, 2015 will yield a very good Star Wars film that is not influenced completely by crazy animators at Disney. It's really nice to see the old guy come around to say hi, but with all this stuff with the end of the marking period, the end of the block coming up, it's really hard to continue on with his training. So more important things to do, right? Making sure you guys are going to succeed in Unit 5. So what did we talk about in Unit 5? Well, we looked at the Romantic period, which lasted from 1820 to 1900, and we looked at modern music, the 20th century era. We also looked at the lives of Igor Stravinsky and Richard Wagner, as well as the emergence of the conductor in the orchestra and how the orchestra has evolved over time. So let's look at the Romantic period. The Romantic period, as said earlier, lasted from 1820 to 1900, and it was reflective of the Romantic artwork and literature at the time. The period brought forth new compositional ideas, a passion for intense emotion in music, showing your feelings, showing the expression, the emotion of a song, okay? It's not just a sonata anymore. It's not just a symphony. It's more than that. And this also rises the ideal of program music or programmatic music, where anything, such as a noun, an idea, anything that you can establish as concrete was big during the Romantic period. We don't have these symphonies that are just titled with the number now. It's called the program symphony, okay, the choral symphony, the fear symphony, different symphonic overtures. We had overtures before, but they were mostly at the beginning of an orchestra. Now we have them as just a standalone beginning of the concert, such as Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, which was a very powerful piece, which brings me to my next point, which is the rise of nationalism and patriotism in the late 19th century, early 20th century. And Tchaikovsky, he is one of the biggest examples of nationalism during that time. We also have in Russia the Russian Five, which all five of them are writing in a nationalistic style, using folk songs of Russia, using new ideas. The most famous of the Russian Five would be Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov and Modest Mussorgsky. Mussorgsky, personally, is one of my favorite composers because of his composition of Pictures on Exhibition, where he saw an art gallery of his deceased friend, and then wrote 15 pieces that reflected his journey. I also really love the work he made called Boris Godunov, which, as a history buff, says, ooh, it's about the rise and fall of the Tsar Boris Godunov and the end of the dynasty that had people such as Ivan the Great and Ivan the Terrible. which then would lead into the Romanov dynasty, which that's history. We don't need that. Moving on, 20th century, as I told you a couple days ago, anything goes with the romantic period, or the 20th century, excuse me. Anything goes. You know, we have several different styles being formed. We have the idea of, 12 tone, and the idea of using math to create music, and each of the 12 pitches of the Western note system gets equal value, an equal chance at being a part of the piece. We also looked at Impressionism, which follows the art movement, and basically it's the idea of impression. You know, it's not a strategically placed piece. It's not a strategically named piece. It's not program. It's not absolute. It's somewhere in between. It's a gray area. And titles of these pieces are Clouds, Nocturnes, that kind of idea. All right. Finally, like I said, we looked at Richard Wagner. His major contribution to music was the Gesamtkunstwerk, the total art drama. His belief in combining music and art and being a powerful, powerful impact on society. And his most famous of these is The Ring of the Nibelungen, which is the basis for J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And then we also look at Stravinsky. Stravinsky goes through 3 periods of 12-tone, neoclassical, and primitivism. His famous piece is The Rite of Spring, which is about paganism in ancient Russia, and the first premiere was in Paris, and it caused a riot. So, just some things to think about, and there will be some more reviews for the final, and good luck, and if you need help, let me know, please, okay? Have a great day. We'll see ya. Bye-bye. And we also looked at, in depth, the lives and works of the composers Richard Wagner, or Richard Wagner if you don't prefer the accent, Igor Stravinsky, and who's the other guy? Who was the other guy? Why do I always forget the third guy? It's one of those crazy composers. No, it's not a person at all. It's how the orchestra's changed.
Home, no more home to me, whither must I wander? Hunger my driver, I go where I must. Cold blows a winter wind over hill and heather. Thick drives the rain and my roof is in the dust. Loved of wise men was the shade of my roof tree. The true word of welcome was spoken in the door. Dear days of old with their faces in the firelight, kind folks of old, you'll come again no more. Home was home then, my dear, full of kindly faces. Home was home then, my dear, happy for the child. Fire and the windows bright glittered on the moorland. Song, tune-filled song built a palace in the wild. Now when day dawns on the brow of the moorland, lone stands that house, and the chimney stone is cold.